Hariom. So today we're going to be practicing the Padmukdasan series number 3, which is known as the Shakti Bandhas, or if you say in English, you could say like the energy blocks or the energy block practices. Padmukdasan series 3 is all about the pelvis and the spine and about unblocking the energy so that the movement of energy flows much more freely. So you know that we've done Padmukdasan series 1, which was all about the joints, so loosening up the body a little bit more. The second one was about strengthening and building of the prana, and the third is allowing it to flow much more freely. Now the practices that we're going to do today are a little stronger on the joints, which is why it's helpful to have that preparation beforehand with the other practices. Now there are a lot of benefits to the Padmukdasan series 3, the Shakti Bandhas. Now when you think of bandha, don't think of the classic bandhas like Udyan Bandha or Mula Bandha. We're not going to be involving holding of the breath or kumbhak in this. It's just the name for it. So these practices, now overall, they're going to be helpful for the spine, strengthening of the spine, especially relieving tension in the upper back, not so much the lower back, more on the upper side, and especially, in between the shoulder blades, a little bit into the neck, and also for opening up the pelvis. So that's why these Shakti Bandhas are especially done in pregnancy yoga. And also it's a lot of focus of this series for reproductive problems and for strengthening the reproductive system, both in men and in women. So these practices, as I mentioned already, helps to increase the prana, the movement of prana, removing of blockages. It gives a nice massage to the heart and the lungs. Some of these practices are also really helpful for balancing the endocrine system. Many of them are very helpful also for preparation for meditative asanas, so to be able to sit in a meditation pose for a longer period of time. Though, as I've already mentioned, many of them are a little stronger on the joints, so you do need to do that preparation beforehand. Then for any women who are having menstrual irregularities, menstrual problems, as a preparation also before conception, for those who are having very poor posture, it can help to improve, especially those who are hunching a lot, because there's a lot of focus on the chest and the back here. And then also we've talked about prenatal, but postnatally as well, a lot of these practices are helpful, and that's just a cockatoo going by. So yes, there are of course separate benefits for each of the practices, but overall this will give you an idea. So just a few things to be careful of. As I've mentioned, it is strong on the joints, so someone who is having knee pain, ankle pain, hip pain, these practices are not going to be as suitable. Of course they're all a little bit different, so they have their different precautions. Also, those who have had like recent abdominal surgery, a lot of these practices are going to be a bit too strong. Also, if there's been any kind of hernia, you need to take care. So that's a couple of things, and then we'll talk more about the individual precautions for each asana. So before we begin all of that, let's sit in a comfortable position. Bring our hands in Dhyana Mudra, keeping your spine upright. Closing your eyes gently, taking a breath in and out, and again in and out, allowing your body to relax. And now we're going to chant 3 Oms and Guru Vandana. So inhale. Om. Gurave Namaha, Gurave Namaha. Gently opening your eyes, releasing your hands. So we're going to get straight into it. If you feel that you need to do any other movements beforehand as a preparation or a warm-up, you're welcome to do that, or any time in between you can always pause it and do a few extra. So the first one we're going to do is Rajukashanasana, which is pulling the rope. So the classic way of practicing it is with the legs out front. Show at a little angle. Make sure that you're sitting on your sit bones. Okay, so that your spine is more upright. If you find it difficult to keep the spine upright, you can fold a little blanket or your mat a little bit underneath just to tilt your pelvis. Okay, so this is our starting position. So for pulling the rope, now we're going to be imagining that there is a rope in front of us. If it's hard for you to stay like this, or if you're teaching somebody who has very weak core muscles and they can't sit in this position, sitting in a cross-legged position is also fine. Okay, you just won't get that benefit of the core strengthening. Alright, so imagine you've got that rope in front of you. You're going to inhale, raising your arm up, grabbing hold of the rope and exhaling down. So I've got a thumb here. I'm looking at my thumb. Now for the other side, so inhale and exhaling down. Now when we do this with the breath, we're also contracting our arms a little bit and our hands a little bit. So there's a bit of tension in the arms. You'll feel it's quite different. Okay. We also don't want to be tilting our head up because we're getting a nice little stretch for our eyes too. So let's continue. So inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. So you can just continue this. Now this is helpful for strengthening your core. It's helpful for stretching out the chest and the upper back. Okay. And it's good for improving concentration. This practice is often done postnatally because it's very helpful for women during that time. Okay, last round. Relax. Okay, so that's Rajukashanasana, pulling the rope. The next one we're going to do is Chaki Chalan, which is grinding the mill. Sit a little bit back here. So we're bringing our legs apart, and again making sure that you're sitting on your bones. Okay, and how much distance you have between your legs will depend on your comfort. For some it will be further, for some it may be closer. That's fine. Obviously if your legs are further apart, you're going to be getting more stretch onto the inner thigh. Okay, so what we're doing is interlocking our fingers, so grinding the mill. So imagine that you're grinding. Okay, so we inhale, exhaling, bending forward, and then inhaling back and around, exhaling down. Inhale and exhale. So see how I'm keeping my arms straight. So even when I come back, okay, sometimes people do this. You don't want to do that, okay, because when you come back, and ideally you could even come back further if it's comfortable, okay, you are using your abdominal muscles more. Okay, so you're strengthening your core when you come back. Okay, so you can decide how big the circle is going to be. It might be small to start, and then later it will be bigger. Okay. It's just going to be, you can continue with the breath. It's opening of the pelvis. As I said, also stretching of the inner thighs, strengthening of the core, strengthening of the lower back. You're also getting a little stretch into your hamstrings and your calves because you are doing a forward bend here, Ugrasana. So that is helpful for restless legs, for leg cramps. Okay, let's go the other way. So using the breath, you can of course experiment with the size of your circle, and you can also experiment with how far apart your legs are. And I would encourage you to do that. Now another option, this is a very easy option which we teach in pregnancy yoga, is to have the knees bent. So especially if you have someone with a very weak core, someone who is very new to yoga, might have had lots of different health problems, they can start like this. And then eventually they can move on to straight legs. So have a go of this one. You'll feel that it is quite a lot simpler. Okay. Okay, relax. Bring your feet together. So this was Chaki Chalan, the grinding of the mill. The next practice we're going to do is Gatyatmak Meru Vakrasan, which the easier version is dynamic spinal twist. So in this position, we're going to be sitting with our legs apart. Now, how far apart can vary depending on what you want to gain out of the practice. We'll start with somewhere in the middle, okay, our legs apart. Now what we're going to be doing here is inhaling, raising our arms out from the side, then exhaling, bending forward, reaching for our toes with our right hand, so our left toes with our right hand, bring our other hand back, looking over our shoulder, okay. Then we inhale, and exhale to the other side, looking over. Okay, so this is the movement. It can be done in a quite dynamic way with the breath, and it can be done very slowly. If it is going to be very dynamic, very fast, you do need to take care that you don't do it too fast, because otherwise it can create dizziness. And also someone who is having low blood pressure can feel uncomfortable, or even low blood sugars. Now the benefits of this practice, you're going to get a stretch onto the inner thighs. You're going to get a stretch into your calves, your hamstrings, into your hip joints, into your pelvis. But also you're getting that twist. So it's a nice twist for the spine, and it's a nice opening for the chest. So it's good for your posture. It's good to relieve tension in the upper back. So this is why we have our legs apart here. You can have your legs further apart if you want to focus more on the lower body, so the pelvis, the inner thighs and so on. You can do it in this way and reach. The only problem with this is that for many people, unless they're very flexible, if they're reaching for their toes and they're bringing their arm back, they can't get that full 180 degrees opening, so they don't open that chest and upper back very much. It kind of stays more like a right angle. Whereas if you bring your feet closer together, and for some people they might want to bring them this close, they'll be able to stretch a lot more. So if you want it more for the chest, legs together. If you want it more for the lower half, legs further apart. If you want a bit of both, somewhere in the middle, or you can do both practices. Okay, so this is the dynamic spinal twist, so let's practice it. So we inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Inhale up and exhale, arms down. You can continue it a few more times. You can experiment with the speed of it, experiment with where your legs are as well. Also for some people, if they cannot reach their toes with their legs straight, they can just place their hand onto their calf muscle, their shin, and stretch like this. And another option, which I do in pregnancy, a much easier option, but of course less benefits, is to have the knees bent. Okay, so we can just twist in this way. It's still good. It's good for the upper back. You just don't get that lower body effect. Okay, you can even stretch out. So please experiment with these different options. We often use this practice as a warm-up for Paschimottanasana, the full forward bend, because it helps prepare you to do that position a little bit more easily. So this is the practice. Now the next one we're going to do is Nauka Sanchalan, which is rowing the boat. And some of you might have done this quite a bit with children, because this is a really good one for kids yoga. So what we're doing here is we're sitting upright and we're getting our oars. We inhale, exhale, bending forward, stretching. Inhale up and exhale. And continuing. You can decide if you want to point your toes or if you want to push your heels. Okay? Depending on how much stretch you want to get into your calves. You can continue with the breath as I'm talking. So this is helpful again for stretching of the hamstrings. You're getting quite a strong stretch here in the pelvis, the lower back, a little bit of compression of the belly. So similar to Paschimottanasana, full forward bend. Of course, this is a dynamic version. Now the other way. When you're coming back, of course, you're also having a stronger effect here. Take care, those who have had abdominal surgery, this isn't recommended until later with the healing process. Also, if there's any kind of hernia, you would want to be avoiding it. Now, you can continue with that version. I'm just going to show you another easy version. Very easy version, okay? Bent knees. So again, like the one that we've just done, this is just a nice preparation. Or it might be that you start them with this and then you build up to straight legs. The other way. Okay. Shake out your legs. Now the next position we're going to do is called Kashta Takshanasana, which is the chopping of the wood. Now I'm going to show it first from a standing position because I find that's the easiest way to learn it, and then afterwards we do it from a squatting position, which is a little bit more difficult. So coming up to standing. So chopping of the wood is a really nice position for stretching out the upper back, especially. So especially between the shoulder blades, where a lot of people accumulate tension and find it really hard to stretch out. It's very good for that. Very good, for the pelvis as well. But the main reason this is helpful position is that it helps to let stuff out. So you'll see. All right. So we're turning our toes out. Now we're interlocking our fingers, so bringing our arms up. You might not see my hands right at the top, but stretching up. Inhale and bring your hands a little bit back so you can feel a nice little stretch into your upper back. And we're going to come down when we exhale with a H sound. Okay, so inhale. H. Okay. Again, stretch up. Inhaling up. H. Exhaling down. So making that sound like we're chopping as we bring our arms down. So it's really good for letting out suppressed emotions. Basically, if you're doing this in a class where everyone does it, everyone laughs, everyone feels very light afterwards. So it's a really, really nice way of letting go. And much easier from standing. So let's do it a few times. Do it with me. So we inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, as loud as you want. Inhale, exhale, last one. Inhale, exhale. All right, now we're going to do it from squatting. So we're going to squat down. And the reason that this is a little harder is, one, because it's difficult for people to squat. Second is it can be hard to balance. I'm going to show you an option. You can use a block. This is a much easier way. You could also use a bolster, rolled up blanket, roll up mat, depending on if one is comfortable in a squatting position. So here we inhale and exhale like this, okay? So we're continuing this way. One other thing to be careful here is that sometimes people hit the floor and it hurts, okay? So it's really important to control the arms. So here we go, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Okay, so also squatting position, we're going to be strengthening our knees, our ankles, our hips, so all preparation for meditative asanas. But, you know, as I was mentioning before, the squatting positions can be uncomfortable for a lot of different people, especially when you're dealing with yoga therapy. So this is our Kashtatakshanasan, or chopping the wood. Now the next one is quite similar, and I'm actually in the position for it already, which is Namaskar Asana. So Namaskar Asana is salutation pose, Namaskar, and it is done from a squatting position. So a regular squatting position, or you could use a block, you could use a bolster, whatever is comfortable. We often do this position as a preparation for Padmasana. Now, this position is going to be helpful in loosening of your joints, but it is also having a nice effect in the upper back. So what we're doing here, finding our squatting position, and you can use a block or you can go without. While it's here, I may as well use it. So we're going to bring our fingertips together and our palms together in Namaskar. We inhale. When we inhale, we look up and we open our chest, okay? And opening our chest, we're also pushing our our upper arms against our knees, okay? So opening more. So we inhale and then we exhale, rounding our back, okay? Our upper back, rounding and pushing our knees towards our upper arms. Okay, so we've exhaled. Now inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Last one, inhale, exhale, and release. Shaking it out, shake out your legs. So you would have felt that it's really quite nice in the upper back to get that stretch. So this is Namaskar Asana. Namaskar Asana is also one that we do use in pregnancy. We generally use it in the second trimester and the third trimester for women who are not having any kind of problems like any preterm labour or any indication that baby might come a bit earlier. Namaskar Asana is a good preparation for birth. Many times it is used at the time of birth with really, really good results. And it's also a nice way of encouraging baby to move down. So even before labour starts, but to get baby into a nice position, Namaskar Asana is very, very helpful. So it is actually one of our classic pregnancy yoga poses. Of course, this squatting is also going to have a nice stretch into your calves. So helpful for restless legs and leg cramps and so on. Now the next asana we're going to do is Vayonishkasan. So Vayonishkasan is the wind releasing pose. There's a lot of wind releasing in yoga. So this is helpful, as the name suggests, for releasing any kind of trapped gases. It's also helpful for improving digestive function, especially for if there's any kind of constipation. So I'll show you. Now it's also involves squatting. So you see a lot of them are involving that. Now I'm just going to move that back. So what we're doing here with our squatting position is that we're going to put our hands underneath our feet, okay? So just your fingers. All right. So we inhale. When we inhale, we look up. We open our chest. So we inhale, then we exhale, and we straighten our legs. So we're doing a forward bend. And we can look between our legs if we want. And then we again inhale, open. So one thing is that when you're looking down, for some people they can feel quite dizzy. So they might want to look somewhere in front, just a little bit. Okay. This movement is dynamic, but it shouldn't be too fast. You're still moving with the breath. So let's continue. So we inhale and exhale. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Okay. Ooh. So coming up to standing, or you can come back to sitting. So this is Nishkasan. One thing to be careful of is that for someone who can't straighten their legs completely, like doing the normal forward bend, standing forward bend, it's fine. They can keep their knees bent if they prefer, or if that's what's comfortable for them. They don't have to extend the legs. There's still going to be a lot of benefit with the practice. So this is Nishkasan, the wind releasing pose. Now the next position we have is Chalasana. And this is a pose that we've already done. It's part of the Master Cleanse, Shankar Prakshalan. It's very helpful. One of the reasons for that practice is because it's very helpful for massaging the lower abdominal region. So it's good for releasing gas, it's good for constipation, getting things moving. It's also good for the pelvis, and it has a strengthening effect. So let's practice it. Now you already know it, but we'll still go through it again. So coming to one end of your mat, tucking your toes under, you're taking a step forward, have your hands on your knees, okay? And from here we're lifting up the other foot and putting it down. As I take a step, I'm pressing my lower abdomen a little bit towards my thighs, so you're getting that massage. Okay. And we continue. And it looks funny. Now, remembering here that this is not as helpful for the knees. If you've got knee pain, this may aggravate it. Same with all these squatting positions. This series is not particularly helpful for those with knee issues. Okay. So this is the crow walking, Chalasana. Now the last one we're going to do is Uddara which is the abdominal stretch pose. And this is also one that we have done in the Master Cleanse practices. So here, coming up into a squatting position, we are bringing our knee down, so our right knee down towards our left foot, pressing our left leg against our right and looking over our shoulder. Okay. And releasing. Now here we don't have to do loads and loads of repetitions, we don't have to do it really fast. We can actually just hold it if we want. So here, pressing, so the other leg, so the left knee towards the right ankle, pressing the right leg. I like to sometimes just release the foot down and just stay like this. And this is where the one that we've done in supine is a good option, because you can just stay there, you can just relax there. Oh, let's come up. So let's do the other side. So just breathing normally while you hold it, or you can do it with the breath. Okay, and the other side. One more time. Okay. All right, releasing. One more thing I will add is that, as I mentioned at the beginning, many of these practices are helpful for the upper back, but not so much for the lower back. So anyone who is having strong lower back pain, I would avoid doing these practices because they're not going to be very good at that time. They can help to strengthen the back for when the back is healed, but not so much right now. Okay, so these are the practices of Palmukasana Series 3. Now we'll have a short Shavasana just to relax and also to integrate the benefits of this asanas. So laying on your back, closing your eyes, your feet are apart, palms facing upward, taking a deep breath in and out, and again in and out, allowing your body to relax. Relax your face, all the muscles of your face, your eyes, nose, mouth, and jaw. Relax your neck, your upper back, your shoulders, your chest, your upper arms, elbows, forearms, wrists, and hands. Relax your chest, relax the middle of your back and your lower back, your whole back. Relax your pelvis, relax your abdomen, your hips, your bottom, your thighs, your knees, calf muscles, ankles, and your feet. Your whole body is relaxed. Your whole body. And slowly wriggling your fingers and toes. Stretch your arms above your head, stretch your toes down. And then slowly opening your eyes, rolling to the side, and coming up. Coming up to sitting position. We'll just finish with 3 Oms. One Om Shanti. Bring your hands in Dhyan Mudra. Closing your eyes gently, keeping your spine upright. Taking a breath in and out. Just relax. And all together, inhale. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May there be peace in your body, mind and soul. Bring your hands together, rubbing your palms, place them over your eyes. Opening your eyes, releasing your hands. Hariam.